In December of 2019, the world was introduced to the coronavirus, or better known as COVID-19. As of March 2021, the virus is still spreading rapidly with 115 million cases and 2.54 million deaths worldwide. It started in Wuhan, China, and quickly spread across the globe. The world went into panic mode and conspiracies began. Was it man-made? Is this all a big hoax? People are doubting the severity of this virus, as we have never dealt with such an issue, all while we have access to the internet and the resources we have today. While everyone was taken aback from the sudden pandemic, students are currently struggling to get their education during confusing times like these. Being told we are in danger to leave the house, to breathe the air, or to talk to your friends is a drastic change from what we are used to.
I'm taking media production at SAS Polytech.
My name is Emma. I'm in grade 12 and I go to Maidstone High School.
I'm taking a 4-year Bachelor of English course in university at the moment.
My job is as a continuing care assistant at the Maidstone Health Complex.
COVID has affected my education by making it hard for me to be motivated, and I also don't really have any accountability to be held because when I was showing up to school last year, my teachers and my classmates would keep me motivated and hold me accountable for doing good work. But now that I am just sitting in my house all day, I don't really, have incentive to excel in my program.
It makes it a lot more difficult, really, just to go to school, because there's not a lot of fun parts about school anymore, because it's all separated and you don't get to talk to anybody who's not in your class. And you can't really leave the classroom when it's not your break time. So it's really, you just sit there the whole day and wait for someone to tell you that you can leave instead of being able to just go to the bathroom at any time. You have to wait for your break.
Literally every way that it could affect it. The obvious format change from in-person to online was tough to get used to at first because the teachers themselves didn't even know what they were doing with it. So it made it even more confusing for the students because of just being in one room all day, basically every day, for months on end, while trying to motivate yourself to do your schoolwork is very difficult to motivate yourself to actually do anything for it. When, at least in person, you had the accountability of your teachers and your other classmates and stuff, and a lot of the time, you would meet classmates off of school to do work and stuff. But with COVID, you can't do that, so there's really nobody holding you accountable for what you're doing, because the teachers, they don't really do a whole lot, online. It's basically just lectures over video, maybe a couple times a week, and then the rest is just learn this yourself.
COVID-19 has really, really affected my job. We used to be able to take pride in the fact that our care facility was more like a home to these people, and we were all like one big happy family. People could come in, they could visit with their family, and it's heartbreaking, honestly. Nobody's allowed in. The residents right now, because we did have a confirmed COVID case, well, we actually had 7, they're all locked up in their rooms. We're dressed in full PPE. These people can't even see their families except outside of a window. It's taken away their final few years, and we have lost quite a few people.
At the beginning of quarantine, we all had to go online. And I wasn't a huge fan because I didn't do any of my work. Because if you're just online, there's no one to tell you really to do your work. There are strong points as to why we should have online learning, but in general, it's not the best course of action, I guess, for even just the mental health of students as well.
I think schools should be all online right now, with the state of the pandemic, that we're in right now. It doesn't really make sense to have people show up on campus. And, like even when they do, there's like still a very good chance that it can be transmitted even in small groups. So yeah, it's not realistic to have schools be fully open or even like half open right now.
For the time being, they definitely should stick to online learning. Like, it's not good for students, but it's kind of necessary with the state of everything.
Online learning is like super lonely because like at least at school you have friends around you that you can talk to. Like, it's not like nobody's allowed to talk to anybody or look at each other. We're not that far apart either. But online school, I would just be here at my house all day doing nothing, and there's no incentive to work.
Yeah, so even with all of the precautions in place, we still were exposed to COVID-19 from another classmate in a small group of 9. And I mean, everybody was fine, but what if they weren't, And then we all just had COVID and we'd have to like stop the program, So I don't really think it's realistic for us to keep doing stuff like that if that's like the risk that we're taking.
I decided to get the vaccine. I thought it was important. I've gotten the flu shot every year, but this vaccine in particular really hit close to home. The past few months, well, the past year actually, due to COVID, we've been walking on eggshells wondering, are we going to be the ones to bring it into the facility? And that has been so hard on the heart because we don't want to be the ones responsible for an outbreak. The first dose was a little bit tricky. I had to sign a waiver because I do have an autoimmune disease. And so there's a risk that it might not work on me, but I willingly signed the waiver, took the vaccine, had no side effects from it whatsoever. It's just a little poke in the arm, stiff arm for a day, no worries. And then a month later, we got the second dose, which did cause a few of our staff to get quite sick from. They had flu-like symptoms, COVID symptoms, actually. There was fever, body aches, there was some sore throats and coughs and nausea. But I was lucky. I had no effects. I had a little bit of a sore arm, but otherwise, I feel great that I did it. And I'm really glad that I did.
I feel like mandatory masking is mandatory, but not, like it should be a choice, but a choice that people make out of, care for others. It's like a social standard that you wear a mask it's out of, consideration for other people. I feel like people shouldn't have to wear it. They should wear it because they understand why they're wearing it. A lot of people just see it as like some oppressive brainwashing technique, to paraphrase, but I think that they're effective to some degree, and I think that it's a good thing that we wear them in big public spaces and stuff. But as a whole, I don't think it should be mandatory. I think that it should be more of a choice.
I think that masks are great. I love wearing masks. I like how they feel.
I think masks should definitely be mandatory.
Mandatory masking is, in my opinion, no big deal. And I don't see why it's such a big deal to so many people.
I do think that masks should be mandatory, obviously. Why would I ever have a reason to not want them? Masks don't bother me in any way. They shouldn't bother anybody in any way. And if they do, that's fine, but you still gotta wear your mask, We've been wearing masks in our facility for a year, and it's a 12-hour shift.
And honestly, it's one thing you can do to try to, help out and stop this terrible virus from spreading. I do feel like in some cases, the choice of masks that people are wearing aren't, in my opinion, the best. I mean, you can't just put your t-shirt over your face and think that that's an appropriate mask. But I think if we all did take the time to wear the proper masks and wear them properly, not with your nose hanging out or, flip down under your chin, it would have definitely helped to stop this virus.
I think that schools should lower tuition right now because we're not getting the full experience of like the program It doesn't really make sense that they're charging full price, and I'm not sure why nobody's really said anything about that. Like, nobody's kind of taken a stand to that. I think it's super bad that they're charging the amount that they are still.
Schools should definitely lower their tuition. We're not getting the same quality of education as we do with in-person classes. We have a lot less opportunities for learning, like, online. We don't have the same ability to, like, talk to classmates and meet up with people and go outside of our own house for purposes like schoolwork purposes.
If you're not doing school in person, there's no reason for tuition to be so high, especially if it's all online. You know, when you go, I'm not in college yet, so I don't really know like everything about it, but when you go to college, you're going into a building and you're paying for facilities that you use, and you're paying for, you know, being there, like, physically. It's only a small fraction that you're paying, like, that goes to professors who are teaching you through a Zoom class. So if you're paying just to be on a video call all day, it's really not worth it. I feel like they should definitely be lowered.
Overall, I'm not happy with my current education. My grades have dropped very significantly since COVID first started, to the point where, like, it's bad. It's affected my education in the worst possible way it could have affected it. It's definitely not like the teachers or the professors' fault. Like, there's nothing that they can do about it.
I am not happy with my current education experiences during COVID. It's actually incredibly depressing. I can't tell you the amount of times that I'll be sitting with some of my classmates and someone will just go, "Man, I can't believe that we went through 12 years of high school for this. Like, our last year is just awful and it's sad." So that, like, in 3 or 4 months, it's all going to be over. Like, it all builds up to this. It's like just a steep drop off. Like, that's it. It's over. And there was no memories made. There's no dances. There's no celebrations. We didn't even have a Christmas dinner this year, which is sad.
Overall, I'm not happy with my current educational experience.
There was no fun memories made because you can't go to parties. There was no hanging out. There was no fraternizing between classes. Everyone's just segregated into their own classrooms, and that's their bubble. So it's not fun at all.
I feel like I missed out on a lot, and I understand that that's not anybody's fault. But yeah, just personally, I really don't feel like I got the most out of the program, and I really don't even feel motivated to finish it. So, yeah.
The virus has taken away countless opportunities for millions of people, students being the biggest target, and it will continue to do so until we work together to stop the spread. Wear your mask, keep your distance from others, and stop believing everything you read on the internet.